Sorry about that. I got kicked off. I apologize. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of hashtag Fade to Black. Um, this is going to be one of those shows where this is the main reason I created. First of all, my panel, Mr. Roll, y'all already know, Mr. and Seepway, welcome to the show. I think this show is going to be much more, to the heart for you because this is pertaining and dealing with your family. So, so let's go ahead and let's stop beating around the bush. Opening statements. Mr. O, lead us off.
Good evening. The whole world is upside down. Very deep crisis going on in Europe, in Africa, in the Americas. There is a very evil wind blowing. We need a lot of wisdom to be able to identify where we can refuge or where to hold on. We need to be very wise, and also we need spiritual guide. As we go into this program tonight, I pray to God to guide us and to our ancestors to inspire us. I can't tell you lie. I am not happy with what is going on. That is my opening statement.
Mr. O, thank you for that. My opening statement is going to be quick and sure to the point. As I'm coming back from work and seeing all the NBA players, boycotting the games, I really give them big ups. This is a time where we say, NBA player, these athletes, they don't care nothing about, what's going on in the streets. They forgot where they came from. They're making these millions of dollars and all that stuff. That's what my people that looks like me be saying about these athletes. And then on the other side, for people who don't look like me, like, why should they care? They're making millions of dollars. Pretty similar to what we're saying. I'm proud of them. Proud of LeBron James. I'm proud of CP3. I'm proud of Westbrook. I'm proud of every single one of those players. And it's just not black athletes, ladies and gentlemen. They're white athletes that play on these basketball teams, including my team, the Dallas Mavericks. I understand a lot of y'all feelings are hurt that they're doing this. This is the one thing that gets our mind off of America, this crazy, country and all this stuff. But we need our sports. We need this. We need that. No. Because I do remember, I think 2 years ago, maybe, where LeBron James at his Hollywood home had nigger sprayed on it. And then another freaking columnist who no longer got a job at FS1, thank goodness, sitting there saying that he was using that to get clout. I commend the NBA players. It's not that they finally get it. It's just that they know that any time in their lives, it can happen to them. And before y'all all come jumping on here and saying, well, the police this, the police that, They put themselves in this situation. And unfortunately, the good ones, because they don't speak up. I understand there's a such thing as a good old boys club. I know it happens everywhere. But if you don't speak up or say anything, you too are part of the problem. No family should ever go through this. But by me saying that, Black folks, Black mothers, Black fathers, or even mixed families, this is everyday life. And you just hope that today it's not you. So once again, shout out to all the NBA players. Shout out to the Detroit Lions as well, because they set out their practice. I just wish more athletes follow suit.
So my opening statement is, first and foremost, Jacob Blake is my cousin. Like me, he and I are the great grandsons of Brasa and Chama. So tonight we're going to talk about my family. Before we do that, I would like to invoke the spirits and the energies of people like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Why? Because we respect and we honor those brothers, those heroes, because they were willing to say the thing that needed to be said when others were scared and afraid to say them. And they were willing to not only say them, but risk the consequences of speaking the truth. There's an old saying that says, truth is an offense, but never a sin. People told Muhammad Ali, right, that he should not, with the draft situation, where he refused. He said, them people, those Vietnam people are not my enemy, right? You're not going to get me to go over there to kill people. They're not my enemy. You my enemy. You the one fighting me down when I'm trying to get my freedom and my happiness. And people told him, oh, Muhammad Ali, you're going to lose your career. You're going to lose your money. All these things is going to happen. And he said, my fight is here. And he was willing to say the thing that needed to be said and even go to prison. Same thing with Malcolm X. He was willing to say the thing that needed to be said. And I'm challenging everyone, not just those of us on the show tonight. I'm challenging everyone in our community to say the things that need to be said, not the things that sound good and that we've been programmed to say to keep the peace. Because some of the things that need to be said are going to, if you say them, is going to make you a target. And we have to have the courage to say them anyway.
Well said. And let's go ahead and get started. I mean, already loves the phone. So a lot has been going on. And for anybody who's not been living under a rock, you know exactly what we are talking about. So I asked Seepway if I can show this video so y'all know exactly what we're talking about. So I'm about to, it pains me to do this, show it with the new footage that other people on the other side has been protesting about. So let me.
You are bogus. Mom, get back! Mom! Mom! You have to get back!
Wow.
Get my son! Come here, TJ! You are bogus! Mom, get back! Mom! You have to get back!
I'll be lying to each and every one of you if that was not hard to watch. But that video, that new footage that came out, I think it was yesterday. And a lot of YouTubers, unfortunately, that look like us three, has been saying that the police were justified in what they were doing. But let me say this for anybody that's watching. On behalf of this show, this is not CNN. This is not Fox News. This is definitely not MSNBC. This is not just a story. I seen the video that Seepway been sending me from CNN, where, if I got this right, that was your uncle that was on CNN.
That's my cousin, who is Jacob's uncle.
Okay.
Who was supposed to be coming on the show tonight. We're waiting for him to come talk. He's there with Jacob at the hospital and with our family right now, so things are a little chaotic. But we're hoping he makes it on the show tonight.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, they're seeing this as a story. They're seeing it just, okay, just another, black man being gunned down, and just want everybody to react. No. We control the narrative here. They're going to come on this show. We're going to give our views unfiltered, and we want them to come on this show and do the same. And I'm not just going to sit here just like any host, like a Don Lemon or Tucker Carlson, and just hear and just give my little views and that's it. No. What you saw, and this is coming from me, was murder. And these officers, I heard that they went on administrative leave, but that's one of the most constant things that you be hearing, is that they go on administrative leave. So for anybody who basically don't know what administrative leave is, yes, they are off duty, but they're still getting paid. So basically it's a different way of saying paid vacation until everything blows over. On this show, we're going to make them pay, just as well as the people who sit there and say that this murder was justified. So since we're still waiting on your relative to come on the show, Seepway, what, with all of this coming out the woodwork, where's your heart at right now?
Well, first and foremost, it is just another black man getting shot, okay? It just happened to be my family this week. Last week, it was somebody else's family, and I heard about it, but I wasn't directly involved. And you're going to have the national spotlight for another couple of days, and then it's going to be somebody else's family. In fact, already, the brother in Lafayette, right? So on the one hand, this is another everyday occurrence. Okay, so I'm not getting it twisted. But on the other hand, the narrative is important. How you tell the story is important. And, you know, people that don't know our family or don't know their history can't tell the story properly. This is just the latest attack against our Blake family. It has been going on for 6 generations. Our family started in America because our ancestor was kidnapped as a boy, according to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. To forcibly remove a child from one group to another is one of the crimes of genocide. That was the first attack on our family. And if it was right, if you can defend in your mind, if you can understand, when they came and put their hands on that little boy, or the mother, or the man, that it was right to physically resist and defend your freedom. If it was right 250 years ago at that first attack, it's still right now. And when you don't connect those narratives, people make the mistake of forfeiting their claim of self-determination and saying, this is an unnatural, illegitimate power trying to exercise authority over me, right? In no sense whatsoever can anyone say that it is natural for white police officers to have authority over my family. We were free, living, on our own. We were not subjects of any empire. We didn't even have our own chiefs and kings that we had to pay tribute. We come from an egalitarian society where each man is the highest level social and political unit. We've never known submission. Never in our history have we ever submitted to a foreign authority. That is what is in my DNA, in Jacob's DNA. We have been known throughout history for resisting. And when there's a conflict, our preferred method is to migrate, is to walk away. When Jacob was attacked, his natural instincts kicked in. Hey, I need to walk away from this situation. That's natural law. It is unnatural for him to obey a command from some foreigner trying to claim authority over him. Now, I know that that's going to seem way out there for most people hearing this, but this has been going on throughout our family and everybody, Black America in general. At some point, right, we have to understand that this government and this police force, which was produced out of the slavery system, out of the slave patrols, right, which was created after emancipation. We're supposed to be free, but we can't wander where we want. So they create these vagrancy laws, and then they create this thing that becomes the police force to make sure, right, that we only move and do what they say. That is unnatural. And we should never give credibility, even after 250 years, that they have a rightful claim of authority over us. I know that's hard for people to grasp, but if the authority was established by the crime of genocide, the mere passage of time doesn't legitimize the authority. So all these people saying just comply, comply. Well, the problem in America is we're never going to comply. We didn't choose to be here, and we're not forever going to say it's right for these foreign people to dominate us. Okay, we're never going to admit that. That's Justin right now. This is Justin calling. Let me see what's up so we can get him on the show.
Okay. While you do that, Sipwe, I want to get Mr. O's take on it, Mr. O. We talked before the show, and knowing how long you've been on this
How
show,
are you, man?
this is the most subdued you have that you have ever been before a show. What is your take on all of this?
First of all, there is just no justification.
Join us at all.
No justification for that execution, almost execution. No matter what the young men may have done, we do not justify that act of that policeman. It is condemnable. You see, there is a conspiracy against the black race. It has been coming for years. They use the news media to degrade us. They plant abortion clinics in our communities. I was hearing one pastor saying some days ago that since 1945 till now, 44 million black babies have been aborted in the US. If not so, our community will be half of the US population. Now, this act of police that is coming, we protest one and they do another. We protest one and they do another. This is a conspiracy. From my opinion, politicians are behind this. We just have to accept it, because if not, it will not be repeated. Because it's a part of conspiracy. There are people who just want to use the. I said, stop using the black people as bullets. You know what? I was speaking to a Nigerian just an hour ago. Even here in this white country, the few of us who are black, we are now afraid. We are now afraid of our own freedom, because this bad example is copied outside the US. Black people will be afraid in Arab countries. Those black minorities in Iraq, now when I see a police, the police watch television and they think that should be the way. Already there's a mentality that if there's a thief, if something is missing and there's one black man, the first to be suspected here is a black man. That is why that thing is so terrible.
Right.
See, so we need to do something about it.
Right. Mr. O, the one part that you said about politicians, I agree with everything else you said. I agree with 110 billion%, because in both of the DNC and the RNC conventions, they did not mention or what they would do for this situation, even though there's lots of them that happened before this, but nothing was mentioned at all or a plan. I mean, it's just, for me, it's just crazy. How can you excuse this type of behavior? How can you come up with an excuse of saying that this was justified? And ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
Look, the conversation we should be having is this. First and foremost, in this climate, right, whoever called the police, that's a problem right then and there.
Right.
Now, the reason why you're calling the police, right, is because we need a force to mediate this problem. Now, what should have happened in this situation, what should have happened is there should be what's called the community protection unit. This is the alternative. The The community, what should have happened is this: when there's some kind of situation, instead of calling the police, you call the community protection unit. Then, you know, Brother John shows up, surveys the scene, says, "Oh, hey, sisters, right? Hold on. Oh, it's Jacob. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh, wait. Jacob's trying to leave. He's trying to diffuse the situation. That's good. Oh man, he's gonna go around the block to 63rd or whatever, and he's gonna stay there because that's where he be. Let's let him go there. Let him cool out for a couple of hours, and then we're gonna send Brother John over there because Brother John played softball with him last week, right? To go talk to him and find out what's going on. See, when you call the community protection unit, these are people who have relationships with everybody in the community. And so their first reaction is to establish is to diffuse this situation and understand what's going on, not apprehend someone. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the problem is there is no community development or community protection unit to call. Why? That's because we don't know our history and haven't learned our lesson. In 1975, the Black Liberation Army put out a message to the Black community and said, if we don't form these armed units that can serve to protect us, right, then they prophesied these things would happen. My cousin never would have been shot if, when those police did show up, if there were 20 armed brothers right there, right, standing right there to make sure that those police officers didn't behave that way, would have never got shot. Okay, so we've been saying this since 1975, and then after the Stone Mountain incident, Grandmaster Jay and NFAC literally told everyone, we've set the example. Now all of you licensed gun owners, all of you that have had military training, that have had police training, that have had security training, that are licensed gun owners, form an NFAC chapter just like we did, right? We'll help you do it. So that when something goes, you can't wait for Grandmaster Jay in Atlanta to somehow relocate to Chicago after the event has happened. We were supposed to form units so that when something goes down, they can arrive on the scene at the same time as the police officer. So instead of talking about, you know, Republicans and Democrats and all of that, we need to be talking about, why haven't we done this? Where are our Black military men that swore an oath to defend the Constitution against any and all enemies, domestic and foreign? Why aren't they, right, having that same oath to defend our communities against the domestic threat, which is actually a foreign occupation army in our community?
See, boy, I'm gonna go ahead. Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Look, there is one observation as maybe I'm not seeing well. Both in the case of Floyd and this our brother, and where other Blacks are victims, I do not see Black in the police. Because if Blacks are in the police around, maybe the story will have been different. Why are our young men not joining the police in those communities?
Hold on, Professor O. We're not talking about, you just diverted from the very point I'm making. We're not talking about the police.
There's a reason why I'm saying it. Because if a Black police had been around when this idiot, this criminal.
No, Professor O, no. The Black police are oftentimes bad or worse.
They're just as worse.
I brought up my point so we can discuss my point, not to be diverted to Black people joining the police. I'd like us to deal with what I said first, which is our own Black people forming community protection units.
And which, by the way, before you continue, I've been preaching now on the show. I've been saying we need to start defending our community. Black Panthers did it a long time ago. Deacon Civil Defense, they even tried it, which was full military from World War II, from the Korean War. And for some reason, we go back to what you were saying, Sequay, it's like we just fell away from it. And I also had an epiphany too. Just this morning, I was just thinking about Black Wall Street. And kind of funny, I was thinking through it all through the day. So everybody hear me out what I'm about to say. Let's talk about Black Wall Street. What do Black Wall Street got to do with this? We got comfortable. We got comfortable. Our ancestors got comfortable because they were flourishing. They was owning their own businesses. They were supporting each other. All the money circulated through the community. But here's the sad part. Here's the catch. We got so comfortable that we didn't expect the white community, the jealous white community, to terrorize the Black community over a white girl getting raped, or a white man, Black man lunging at a white girl. And I see it in this situation. We got lax, we got comfortable, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. If the Black Wall Street, because I know it was a lot of military veterans that was in that community that started their own businesses, had their own militia that probably would have grown, got those kids around 6 years old, trained them how to shoot, defend themselves. Who knows? The Black Wall Street will still be standing here to this day. Not only just Black Wall Street, but all chocolate cities before Atlanta, before Washington. Yes, they will be standing to this day because they didn't feel comfortable. They was training their kids and generations from then on, from generation to generations. Get a gun, know how to use it, know how to shoot it. Also know how to defend yourself, stand your ground, but also to have each other's back. So, Sequay, when you say that, I had that epiphany all through today.
Because we have so many trained, people that are in the military that know command structures, that know discipline, that know those things. We need those people. There's nothing. We need those people now to be willing to sacrifice their careers, to sacrifice their opportunities, to put themselves on the front line, because they're the ones that know how to do that.
Hey, you can see. Go ahead, Mr.
Look. I have a deep understanding of politics, how it goes on. Let me give some
idea.
We all do. Yes, but I've been very active in politics for years.
Yeah.
And I mean, dating back to the 70s. So I'm just telling you now that with this federal structure in the US, a community, protection unit can be created by the council member voting it before the mayor. You don't even need the governor. You can do it locally. But those who represent you in the local government, in the council, before the mayor, they can make a bill, or you can form it and register it.
Professor, yes.
Private security.
We know that.
The very rich people, they have.
We don't even need council approval.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can create it and register it. Let us start from there.
Yes, we that's what we are doing. That's what NFAC is doing. NFAC is showing an example that it can be done, and it can be done effectively, and it's not a whole big bureaucratic process. Right, and we don't have to rely on the permission of councils and things like that if they want to drag their feet, right?
No, once you register it, you have guides. You have the constitution guiding it. There's nothing, the laws allow it. Self-defense.
Yes.
Self-defense It's a natural, it's a human right.
We're in agreement. The conversation is why are we not? Why are those that know and have the skills and have already been trained? Why are they not doing?
No, let us look. That question is for yesterday. Now let us propose it. The situation demands it.
Professor,
But that's what Steve Wade is saying. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's what he's saying. He's saying that we need to do something now. And Mr. And you're correct in what you're saying. Yes, we need, if politicians are not doing what they need to do, you need to get the ass vote out and get people that will do it and hold their feet to the fire, which you are right on that point. But go ahead, Mr. Go ahead.
Look, for our folks that are listening to this program, tell the community to organize their own protection unit.
That's what we're saying.
That is what to be. All black communities should have their own protection units.
Yeah. All right, we're in agreement.
Yeah, so that was see Ray was saying the whole time that we mean by the community council about.
Yeah, that's why I say. But now that was his idea. But I'm just saying it now de facto that we should call out that those who are listening to us in this program should start organizing themselves, speaking to their community, and let's start right away.
All right. So we have a special guest. He just popped in, and I'm about to add him into here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Justin Blake. His camera.
I'm sorry, family. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. First of all, welcome to #Fade to Black. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, dear brother, for having us.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. So on this show, we keep it funky up on here. So could you? This is going to be a two-part question. So first one is the condition of Mr. Jacob. And then also, what is going on right now in that community? I think he frozen. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? Can you hear us? Ladies and gentlemen, apologies.
Repeat the question.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat my my question. So basically, a two-part question. Give us an update on Jacob's condition, and also how is the community now? Because right now you got all the news networks saying that the city has been burnt to the ground and that it's still civil unrest, which we also going to dive in the middle of the show. But give us your take on how the community is coming together and putting the council members to task.
Well, first off, thank you for having us again. Just want to update you that little Jake came out of an operation, and the nurse said he came out better than he went in, which is awesome news, which means he's beginning a slow recovery. Secondly, the destruction of property and death of people that were participating in the protest. You have to understand, if you come to some of these small communities, there's a lot of hurt and pain going on. There's also some other people being deviant. Nevertheless, you have to understand people mourn differently. So we have to embrace those brothers and sisters and bring them in that are doing things that we don't necessarily approve of, but you have to understand their hurt and their pain from years of being mistreated.
Roger that, sir. But that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's from here, because we know how the other outlets will spin it. So what is your take on how the media is spinning it? Because right now CNN is really trying to put the story on. I'm trying to like parse what I'm trying to say. So if I'm being disrespectful, please let me know. The mother, about her saying that we should forgive the police officers and all that stuff, and they basically are focusing that attention on her. So what do you feel about the media just focusing on her words and focusing on what she is telling the community what they should do? I think he froze again. But so I'm gonna pass that question along to you, Seepway. What do you feel about it? Because we kind of had like a conversation about it during the day.
Well, she's in the chat.
Okay.
She had a mother, but never gave the fact. Can you?
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Hopefully he pop back in. Hopefully he can still hear us. Yes, we're back. Can you hear me?
Are we back with?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
yeah, he's back on.
Yeah, that's his mother. She's a God-fearing woman. But that doesn't negate the fact that she wants justice. She wants the man brought to justice for the severe way in which he managed to police improperly and impose such a severe consequences on her son, my nephew, that was unlawful. So she may forgive him in her heart and with God, but she most certainly wants to see justice.
Gotcha. So what do you feel about the officers being put on administrative leave, aka paid vacation? Because honestly, they don't.
But first, hold on, Justin, do we even know the names of those officers?
Yeah, they released the names of the officers. They just had a press meeting a minute ago and spoke about the officers and that they had 30 days, etc. And it was just too much for us to digest, as they were asking us, the public that pays the taxpayers and pays the officers to protect the community and so forth, for us to be patient when the gentleman who rode up with a gun instantly pulled it out and was the judge, jury, and execution, but it didn't work on our nephew, are asking us to be patient. We've been patient enough 100, 200, 300 years. We want to be persistent in our demand for justice. And although patient has its place, we don't believe it has its place here.
Now, Morris, my cousin is, I know how exhausted he is because he's handling a lot of things for our family. Cousin, have you had a chance to visit Jacob in the hospital? I know you've been in and around, but have you actually talked to him?
No, man, but he stood up and talked to our brother. Didn't stand up. Excuse me. He sat up and was able to better have a conversation with his father today. I just got off the phone with Jake a minute ago, and I'm getting ready to go back to the hotel and work on some other stuff that we're working together with. But it was just awesome to hear that he was able to have a semi-cognizant moment with his father.
Well, I'd like you to pass a message to him, which is, one, his Balanta people worldwide, right? This is becoming legendary. They are saying that a Balanta man took 7 bullets at point blank range and survived. So this is now becoming a legend among the people about how strong people are. Also, the Balanta community met with some from the Balanta community were able to meet with or have an intermediary meet with the president of Guinea-Bissau to make a statement on this. So there is now.
Did.
What's that?
Did you say he did already, cuz, or he was going to?
No, they had the meeting this morning, and we're expecting a statement tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I just
that's awesome.
great news.
let Jacob know that there are people around the world that really it make them strong. The fact that he could take 7 bullets and still survive.
Yeah,
Bruh, only a Blake with Belante blood could do that, right?
Okay.
See, I love this. I love this. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes. Justin.
Yes, sir.
I am based in Argentina, you know, but I'm an African. I share this very pain with you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Please let my words get to the mother. She is great. She is spiritually superior to her enemies. When I see her on TV with that message of lifted heart, she's magnanimous. And so I'm very happy that she's free. She's free because she refused to become the choice of politician. She spoke out with magnanimity. That she's a great woman, and that message is going throughout the world, believe it or not.
We got on a Chicago radio station, WVON, this morning, and all the callers said our family looked beautiful. She was a hell of a queen.
That woman,
they echo what you just said.
She is going into history. In the middle of pain, in the middle of harm, she stood firm. To such a high spiritual level. I said, thank her, greet her, let my prayers get to her, that she and her family and your family, you will go out through this. God Almighty will lift you up and put your enemies to shame. Yes. That is, stand firm on that. Do not trust on human justice. They are corrupt. They are useless.
We ride with the biggest dog in town, and that's God.
We do not bow our head to these fools. So
we will certainly let her know that, dear brother.
Hey, Justin, what about Jacob Senior?
Hold on. One person at a time. Go ahead, Sepoy.
What about Jacob Senior, Jacob's father? How's he doing?
Jake, man, he was just so ecstatic about being able to see his son, hold somewhat of a conversation with him today and let him know that he loved his father and was glad that he was by his side. It was just an awesome moment. So I'm literally getting ready to leave here once I get off this interview with you guys and go back to the hotel and just hear and feel what Jake saw and how he's progressing. We're asking God, Allah, to let him walk out of that hospital, and we know it can happen.
Oh yeah, yes, most definitely. I'm feeling the power, and also I'm feeling the family love between you and Sepoy. I'm actually feeling it, and I'm not even gonna lie. I'm kind of holding back tears after I heard that information about Jacob actually recovering.
Yeah.
So. And then also, I think Mr. O and all of them, they took my question. My question was, how was the family doing? But hearing what you just said, Justin, it seemed like everybody is in good spirits. I think everybody who's watching the show is very happy to hear that y'all are in good spirits.
Our family is going to show the power of our ancestors, the power of our faith. Right.
Yes.
Because
hold on, Michelle.
If you heard what Justin just said, our family is focused on Jacob walking out of this. People today, don't necessarily see or believe in miracles. Right now, they've been trying to say he paralyzed X, Y, and Z. Right, but if you just heard my cousin say, right, Jacob right? We're putting the energy in him walking out of the hospital. And when that happens, that's going to show the whole world something.
Yeah,
That's going to be a sign to the whole
Just
world.
to share something with you guys, they asked us on CNN when we saw the shooting, did we think he was dead? And every percent of 100% telling y'all the truth, there was no time I ever thought my nephew was dead. We would have felt it.
Yes.
yeah. Go ahead, Mr. O.
Yes, he will walk again, and very soon he will walk again. There's no doubt. I have no doubt in it that the hand of God is already there. And he has a bright future. This is how the devil likes to punish somebody. So he has a bright future. He will walk again, and his light will shine. It will shine for many to see. Why? We pray for spiritual part. Then come our request for justice. I will suggest that the family sue the mayor and all the council for not protecting our son. And if they cannot satisfy us, they will all resign. But we have to go more than that. We hold them responsible. They are supposed to be the chief security officer of that very place, and failed. So they should go to court and say, look, you are not doing your job well, resign. Let there be a call. The whole government system, the mayor and all the council members, not all the police, the sheriff, all should resign. And let's vote new people in.
Right. And as you see on the bottom strolling, let them know, ladies and gentlemen, we're not trying to go viral, but let them know that Jacob is actually getting better, and he's going to get better as the days continue on. Hopefully Justin will join us back. He's going through some technical difficulties. But I wanted to, get his take on hearing the warrant that's been out on him, that many other people that believes that this was justified, trying to use that as a reason for him being shot, which I'm trying to figure that out. Like, how in the world that justifies somebody getting shot 7 times? And even if from that other angle of the video that I showed at the first part of the show, I did not see him on the ground. And even if he was on the ground, how many times you've seen white pedestrians basically just walk around doing the same exact thing, and they don't get that same end result? So I'll leave this on to you, Sipwe. How does that make you feel as a relative who was close to Jacob, seeing all this just come out of basically nowhere?
Well, when I first started seeing those things, like it was a feeling of disgust in the pit of my stomach, because I know the routine so well. I know the playbook to now try to demonize my cousin. Okay. So, it was disgust. Now, my understanding, like, I don't know the details of what happened in the war in that situation. My understanding is only from what I heard, which was that there was some domestic dispute, and so there was a warrant that was issued on July 6th. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean anything. First of all, let's keep it real. Everybody in our families have somebody that has a troubled marriage or domestic situation where they get to arguing and they get out of hand, and then police get called and there's some kind of domestic thing. That is a function of this system, which is we've never had a chance to develop healthy relationships. how are you going to have a healthy relationship if you never had the chance to develop manhood and womanhood properly because you've been living in a condition that was designed to what? Not provide for your proper development, but stifle your development. So when we have these domestic problems, because we're living in conditions that were created to harm us. We have an economic situation. We have a housing situation, which is unnatural. So my understanding is he had some kind of domestic, and there was a warrant for that. Okay. Now, I ask any black man listening, right? How many black men out there, right, have had some kind of domestic? What does that have to do with then that being a justification for being shot in the back?
Yeah.
Right. So it's part of a playbook. It says, and when you study genocide, it says you have to dehumanize a person. So if you can criminalize a person, they're not a human, they're now a criminal. And the essence of being a criminal is that you must be what? Punished. So it is a psychological operation that they put out there to condition people. And it triggers certain people who are already against us or want to continue to oppress us. They get triggered and they repeat the psychological operation that was put in play. This is the very reason why the 13th Amendment says what? Slavery shall be abolished except in the case of what? A punishment for crime.
Which
right?
leads you to jail, prison.
So this is it's a play. It's a strategy to say that when there's a problem, whether it be a drug problem, if it's a drug problem for you, we're going to treat it as a criminal matter, not as a public health matter. If there's a domestic problem, right, we're going to treat it as for you, a criminal matter, and for the other person, the other community, we're going to treat it as a mental health and family counseling problem. This is what the white supremacy in the system is all about. There is one labeling system and status in jurisprudence process for you that shall be called criminal. And then the people with this, our own colorless people, because if they're going to call us colored people, we're going to call them colorless. The colorless people, right, have a different status and category. And when they have problems, it gets treated as, with compassion as public health matters.
Right.
My reaction to that is, we know your game. We're not falling for it, right? And anybody that continues to repeat that stuff is just revealing themselves as to either their level of consciousness or which side they're on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. O, do you have anything to add?
No, yes. Well, I just want to say that, we have to do something about this. And we have to tell our people, you see, that their vote is their power. Any time, so before another happen, let the family go now to
our power. Professor O, stop that nonsense.
Wait.
For 150 years, Professor.
Wait.
Every time I say something or something, you come with this crazy.
Well,
okay,
you have to control your temper. See the mother of that boy, how magnanimous is. Come look with all these activities, you solve nothing. Let us add ideas together on how to begin to prevent this.
So let us have a scientific analysis of voting, which we've already done. Our best scholars, including the greatest intellectual of the 20th century, W.E.B. Du Bois, already told us, one, voting doesn't work, which is why he didn't go to the ballot box. And two, once you understand the American democratic, so-called democratic system, one, voting, whether it be in presidential elections or at the local level, has been discredited because we have voted in more people in the last 30 or 40 years. We've had more elected black officials, and yet we're still here. The presidential vote is, you are not electing the president. You are not democratically choosing your representative. It's a performance where they have decided that we were going to take one of these two people to captain the ship, and we're going to put you through a process that gives you the illusion that you have some power. America is not a democracy. It's an oligarchy that is run by the money interests. So when you try to convince our people, after what we just said, when you come on this show, and I'm talking about like what's happening to my family. My family's been voting for all this time. On voting.
If you don't act, control your emotion. I share your pain.
Okay.
I'm not going to allow.
All right.
So you will fail. Look, this boy. Let me tell you, if you don't control your emotion, you will fail. You can't make any change. That is not a revolution. That is not a revolution. Listen to somebody who thinks differently. You can't make a revolution like that.
Okay, so
what I'm saying.
Okay, let's go ahead and finish.
I know that democracy all over the world has problem. There is rigging everywhere, but it's still the only system we have. So let me finish what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Go ahead, Michelle. Go ahead and finish.
You have to learn a lot. You know, I know what I'm saying. You look, we have this problem for 300 years. It has listen to a different idea.
Hey, Sequay. Let him finish his point. And then I'll allow you to rebut. Go ahead.
Professor.
We have this problem for more than 300 years. Let us listen to a different idea and see how we can approach it differently.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You said let's listen to a different idea and a law. So let's talk about the international. Hold on. Let's talk about the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Let's talk about international law. This is what our liberation movement.
Look, I can't finish the game. I'm finished with it.
You're saying the covenant.
I'm finished with it.
Let's stop. Let's everybody stop. Let's everybody get back to your corner. No, hold on, Mr. O.
Let's go to another matter.
Let's everybody, Mr. O.
No. Let's go to another. This is a small boy. He has not lived. He read a lot of books, but he has not lived. And he will not listen.
Mr. O.
Forget the matter.
Mr. O, I get it. I'm trying to push y'all back in y'all corner and calm down. I have not discouraged anybody's ideas or anything, okay? All right. This is the reason why we have this show. We're not going, like I said, we're not always going to agree on everything, but we are going to get to the solutions. So let's calm down. Yeah, so let's
some solutions.
Like what Cheech was saying. Let's be respectful. So I knew Mr. O, he was trying to put out his point. So, like I was saying earlier, Sequay, let him say his side, and then you can rebut. So give Mr. O a shot, because I know the things that he's saying you're not agreeing with, but let him explain. Let him finish his point. Agree, Mr. O?
Yes, within the system that we have today, you see, we have to use what we've got to get what we need. Look, corruption is all over the world. Democracy is just in the way, but it's the only thing we have today. So what I'm saying is this, that we don't let politicians have their day. We have to take them to court. When the mayor is the chief security officer of that place, and this happened, we should sue him. He must be sued. And also the council member, and also the head of the police. There is a mechanism in the constitution, I believe, that that a damnified citizen can go to court and ask for all of them to resign. When we do it in 2 or 3 places, there will be changes, because there is not, if not, we can't. This is what we have. Killing them is not solution. Burning them is not the solution. The solution is that what we have within the system is this: go to court and sue the chief executive of that place.
Okay.
Let him go to court and say why he cannot protect his citizen. And if the citizen cannot be protected, it's not what the position is holding. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And go ahead, Seaway.
So clearly, Professor O, you don't understand the nature of the protest and the sentiment in the Black community, who is tired of trying to get police boards and police accountability. We've been working the system, and it hasn't worked. That's why we're out in the street. We've been using the political process. That hasn't worked. We've tried to, for example, are you familiar with Gaidi? Are you familiar with Republic of New Africa?
No.
No. Okay. So this was part of our national liberation struggle. In the same way that Africans started to fight for their independence, we did too, right? The first president of the Republic of New Africa was actually part of the city council. He was involved in politics like what you were saying. And he realized that he was sitting on a board, a council board, and he was just one of 7. And he sat there and he watched how whatever he was proposed, he was outvoted. And he came to the conclusion that inclusion is not control. And so we had people that went through the political process that you were talking about, sat on the inside and concluded that that was a dead end, because we can always be outvoted. We have, you'd say sue people. It's not so easy to sue people. The average Black person in America, right? The top, first of all, 75% of Black wealth is held by just 10% of Black Americans, which means the other 90% of Black America, right, is sharing the remaining 25% of the wealth, right? It takes resources to fight back within the system. And our people, one, a lot of us don't know how to do that. And those that try, right, their resources get exhausted. So the reason why we're protesting is because the law wasn't created for us. It was created to be used against us. Now, ever since 1860, even before then, we had people, free Blacks that were voting. But ever since, emancipation, we've tried everything from working within the system to setting up our own our own parties, like the Mississippi Democratic Party. We've tried all of that. What we're now, people are waking up to is what we have to do is get control. And they're not going to vacate their control. They will include us and allow us to sit at the table with them so long as they maintain control. So instead of, what we need to be talking about are what are the specific tactics, strategies, plans, projects that we need to do where we will be able to what? Gain and exercise control over all facets of our life. That's what we need to be doing. And voting in this presidential, let me give you an example. When it was Bush and
Al Gore?
Bush and Gore. Right?
Yes, I knew it. I saw it.
They're both skull and bones from Yale.
I saw it in Florida.
Okay, so when they convince you that choosing between one skull and bones from Yale and another skull and bones from Yale is some kind of choice and that your voting is power, that's a trick they're playing on us. And we need people like you to stand up and say, look, this presidential election is a performance so that whoever they put up as a candidate can stand before the world and say that they are legitimate rulers because the people consented. The Declaration of Independence says that it is the consent of the people. It gives the democratic government its legitimacy. So now that the government refuses to give us land, refuses to pay reparations, right? We've given them every opportunity to do that for the last 150 years. They refuse. They won't even pass a bill to study it. So if they're not going to punish the police officers, if they're not going to change the police forces, right, then what we have to do is we have to stand before the world and say, we're going to remove our consent. 47 million Black people are going to say collectively, we refuse to be governed by this system, which has created the racial health and wealth gap. It is now the average Black person, the economists say it will take 228 years for the average Black person to reach the level of wealth of a white person. So we need to set a limit. How much wider does the racial wealth gap must grow before we say it is time to what? Dissolve our political bands with this system. In fact, that is how the Declaration of Independence starts off. The Declaration of Independence, the very word says, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. When it comes to health, the health gap is growing, is getting worse. 80%, Jacob's mother, she's obese. 80% of African-American women are overweight or obese. The highest level of obesity of any
white women too. White women too.
No, African-American women is higher. So what I'm saying is, if you look at our health, the gap is getting worse. If you look at our wealth, the gap is getting worse. How much more do we need before we decide it's time to, according to the Declaration of Independence, dissolve our political bands with this system?
Do you let me come in? You see, you made a very intellectual exposition. But in this thing, we have to be more pragmatic. You see, the intellectual exposition give a lot of theory. That doesn't solve the problem. Let us now, within the system, because look, they will not allow us to carry out that your proposal. Nowhere in the world. Wait, let me finish.
I know they're not going to allow us.
Look.
I want to say there's a second part to what I have to say, which is
it happens we
have to take.
It happens in all democracy. It happens in all democracy. What we need is a strategy of how we can improve on our own and in our community.
I'm going to give you one. I have one.
That is why I say, for now, what we have is this. Let there be a first step to sue the local chief executive.
All right.
I mean, at least leave it as a precedent. Yeah, another we add idea. And as for the well-being of the community, it's a different matter. We shall work on it. Okay. We shall work on it because it has to go to education. It has to do with empowerment. It has to do with a lot of things. Right. Because there's no guarantee that a Black republic will function because Africa is not functioning. So let us work within the system.
Okay. So, all right. So let me go ahead and jump on in because I'm just been hearing y'all side. So let me go ahead and give y'all what I'm hearing. One thing that is missing: CODE, code.
Yes.
Nobody's on code. That's what we need. Okay. We need to be more on a code of no matter what side of the aisle you on, whatever philosophy you're thinking. If I see, for example, a Black woman getting harassed by a police officer, it should be every Black man's obligation to go over there and be like, officer, what's going on here? She don't have to be your mother. She don't have to be your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. But hearing from both of y'all sides and all that stuff, it's a code. And it's evident because you even got people like that look like us that are trying to justify what happened to your cousin. They're trying to justify it, and they look just like us. And that's where the divide right there, that's the instant divide. And it'd be the same people in the same breath that's creating that divide saying that, well, I'm just calling it like it is. You're not calling it like it is. You're making things worse. And it seems like you being a puppet for somebody else or being somebody else's mouthpiece. But all I'm hearing from both of y'all is a code, which I believe we all should create and we should follow it. And it should be a punishment for people who don't follow that code. And I throw it back to you to see where it seemed like you had something else that you wanted to say too as well.
Yeah, so okay. So there's a legal strategy and then there's the on the ground strategy.
And then also we got this question right here by Barry. I think it's a good one.
Yes, that's a good one.
Right. So and kudos to you, Barry. Right. Listen, Professor O is saying the legal strategy should be worked again within the racist, oppressive legal system that is governing things currently. But he also said we need new ideas. So here's the new idea. The legal strategy has to be what Malcolm X told us. It has to be internationalized. We have to become conversant with the covenant, the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Okay, and we have to be conversant with what's called the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Okay, so we have to study international law now. Now, while we're pursuing the international law, we have to understand how power operates. So what we need to be doing is power operates, the way it's functioning right now is it's called warfare. When there's a conflict between two opposing forces, it is either resolved through diplomacy or it's resolved through what? Combat, warfare. Right now, they are waging, they waged warfare to bring us here, and they've been using warfare every minute of every day of every year of every month since we've been in America. But we haven't understood it as that. And so when you understand warfare, whenever you are attacked, if you don't respond or retaliate, right, eventually you will what? Suffer the loss of your power, what we call sovereignty, through what's called conquest. Right now, we should be at the point, and like I said in the beginning, I'm invoking Malcolm and Muhammad, I'm going to say it straight, right? What we should have said in that press conference is, from now on, if you shoot one of ours, one of yours gets shot. Okay, we have to be straight about that, right? And you are not helping our people if we are not teaching our people how warfare must be conducted. We didn't choose this war. It's right. They're shooting unarmed people that are trying to walk away and defuse a situation. Okay, so my strategy is this. I'll lay it out real point blank. We study international law and we signal to the world we no longer consent to be governed by the people that enslaved us, by boycotting wholesale the vote. We want to be able to say when they do the vote count, right, wow, 46, no black people vote. Then we can tell the world community, this is not our president, this is not our government, right? Because we never gave our consent to them.
All right, not to interrupt you, because you just hit me with an epiphany. Because I remember by a guy by the name of P. Diddy who said that he wanted to hold the vote, but he didn't have anything behind holding the vote. But Sipway, you got something.
Oh yeah.
You
got
got
something
something.
more.
You got something that is legitimate that we're not voting, because now you got me thinking differently about
Yes.
voting now. I mean,
Yes.
even though, like, don't get me wrong, I still believe in voting, but like I said, I go to the middle of the train tracks with you, but then also I will go on the other side and see why you believe in what you believe rather than just throwing judgment because you believe something differently than me. But hearing that you have said something and have a plan in place of the reason why we're going to hold this vote.
Yes.
Even though I believe there's more black people in America.
Let me
go ahead. I just want to.
There are two legal instruments that we need to be invoking. One is the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. This is how, in Professor O's language, we sue them. This is how we sue them, not within their system, which they control, but within the international system. The other instrument is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. This says, just like the U.S. Declaration of Independence, that we have the right to alter or abolish a government that is oppressing us or institute new government. So there's a process. By withholding our vote wholesale, we signal to the world community that we understand, right, that in a democratic system, it is consenting that gives the government legitimacy. If we don't vote, we don't consent, the government no longer has legitimacy over us as a people. Their only argument at that point is it's by force.
Right.
Like, our only authority over you is because we have the military force over you. We have to get them, we have to put them in the position to admit them. Mm-hmm. By invoking these legal instruments, then we get the international community to get involved. And then we have to do one more thing. We have to do what the ANC was willing to do, what Mau Mau was willing to do, what the PAIGC was willing to do. We have to then exercise our right to self-determination and self-defense by, whenever they attack us, we don't just submit and comply. We have to resist, even if it means giving our life. That's what a liberation struggle is. You have to have you have to have a community that says, right, our dignity as human beings, our right to self-determination means that we will give our lives for it. And when we start doing that, when we start having second strike capacities, whenever we're attacked, we answer. The reason why, and we talked about this before the show came on, today is August 26, 2016 is when Colin Kaepernick took a knee. When he took a knee 4 years ago, that was not tolerated. He was demonized, criminalized, lost his job, finances, all of that. Here it is 4 years later, the entire NBA is saying Black Lives Matter, taking a knee, right? Canceling games. What changed? Why was the peaceful protest that was demonized 4 years ago wholesale accepted? Because after George Floyd, the amount of disruption and property destruction made peaceful protest what? The lesser of two evils. So when we understand power, real power, Professor O, not some intellectual thing that you tried to charge me with. When you understand real power on the ground, when we begin to answer their attacks, right, in kind, while we're pursuing this international legal battle, eventually America will have to do what the British did. What was it that caused the British to give up their 13 colonies and territory? It wasn't people just holding up signs saying Kumbaya. It was a group of rioters that called themselves the Sons of Liberty. They were the Black Lives Matter movement of the 1770s. These rioters, right, tore down statues of King George III, and they started attacking British soldiers. They waged 66 battles known as the Revolutionary War, where they destroyed property and they took lives and pushed and forced the British to say, look, it's not worth it anymore. The cost in property and lives is too much. Let's just give them the territory. Now, if we can all agree that what we needed at the moment of emancipation was land and reparations. Reparations mean the resources and the education to repair ourselves. If we needed it at the moment of emancipation and we still don't have it now, we need it now. We are the majority population in the states of Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. We are already the majority. That is our territory. We have to, you say we need a strategy? The strategy is push the American government to finally give us that land so that we can exercise control in the form of national independence.
Let me comment.
Yeah, Mr. After your comment, Mr. O, then we're gonna go to Teach's question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. O.
About 100 years ago, I think it was Louisiana, there was a state in the US that almost declared itself a black republic. And all the other states joined together to put out the rebellion. They were almost making it. Well, that's one thing. When you talk about international laws are laws. Many countries don't even abide by it. We saw the Popular Revolution in China, how China destroyed lives of many students. We saw it now in Hong Kong. So while we are busy fighting coronavirus, Chinese troops are already taking over Hong Kong. So if we have to depend on international community, we will not make it. The changes have to be within the system and from inside. We can't, because America will not obey any foreign law. You know, many countries don't obey it. International law is against slavery, yet there are many countries with slavery today. So because they are treaties of common paper, they are treaties of paper, what we have to do is to be more pragmatic. Let the changes come from within. And the changes have to come from us individually first, then our neighbors. Then we have to see a different strategy to it. It cannot be on intellectual level. When they start, then the intellectual can begin to give advices on what to do, how to do it, this and this. That is why we have to look at it from a different optic. We have to do a different strategy. That is why I propose that. Make the first precedent, and then it will be replicated. Because with violence, the enemies of black people will use it. They will infiltrate us. I have seen many of those causing destruction are whites. They started it, and they continue to do it. And they are taking the fight away from us. No, we must take our fight on ourselves. So let us do the thing within the system. And I think it will work. And it will be fastest. Over to you.
Okay. All right. So here's the question that our panelist, even though she got a new job and everything, this is what she posted up there. And the floor is open.
Look, Professor O is saying, continue to work within the system, which is what we've been doing since emancipation. And if that was working, we wouldn't be talking about
the situation right now. We
wouldn't be talking about my cousin being shot. Now, the detractors, even our own, that are saying just comply with the police. Why would we respect law and order? The law and order itself doesn't respect its own law and order. Okay, if the law and order, like Professor O was saying, when he says international law is just a piece of paper, I agree with him. I'm not saying that international law is going to compel America to just give us our demands. I'm not naive, and I'm under no illusions. What I'm saying is, right, the law and order within the system that Professor O is talking about doesn't even respect law and order. It will violate its own law and order, and it will change the law whenever it deems necessary for its own benefit. Law and order is just a powerful person's opinion. Okay, so you can't expect us to have more respect for law and order when law and order doesn't even have respect for law and order, which is why they violate our rights in the first place. Now, we're at a point now where, see, Professor, you're not in America. You don't actually feel what's going on the way you're not experiencing it like we are. We are at a point for the first time where everybody, even the most passive brother or sister, has had enough. There's a revolutionary potential, right? It is available to us to exploit, to do something that is unorthodox. And we have nothing to lose because we're already being killed. We're already have more people in prison than we had enslaved, prior to the Civil War.
Yeah, that I know. That I know.
We're already nearly tapped out. So it's time for us to say, look, this strategy of working within the system, we've been doing that intensely since the Civil Rights Act. And yet here we are. So with all due respect, Professor O, it's time for us to listen to Malcolm X, right, and attempt this other strategy. We need land. We are owed land. It is the morally correct thing to do, and it is the practical thing to do. If you want to solve the race problem, you have to answer the question, what do we do with these people who didn't want to be here, right? What do we do with these people? They're no longer really needed for the economy, except for they fuel the prison industrial complex, a multi-billion-dollar industry that pays court stenographers, judges, lawyers, mail systems, right? There's an entire industry that primarily Black men are providing jobs for these colorless people. Now watch this. These colorless people who work in the city, in our communities, get paid there, but they live outside of our communities. So their tax base, not only are they making money off of us, then the taxes they pay don't go into the city where we live, it goes into the community. They come into the community to run this criminal system on us, and then they go home at night, right, and bring the tax base there. See, Professor O, you don't know much about me, but I have studied domestic and international law, and I've studied the history of my people, and I've listened to our leaders, the ones that our people respect, as voices of manhood and standing up for our dignity. Malcolm X told us a long time ago, every revolution, there's going to be bloodshed. These people are not, we're trying to appeal to a moral consciousness that doesn't exist within this system.
Right. So Teach has graced us with her presence once again. Teach, I know you got a lot on your mind. Floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. And to Sipaway, I send strength and healing energies to your family throughout all the generations and the generations to come. I just want to say that this is a tragedy. And I was watching a clip of one of the press conferences with one of the attorneys that's on the case. And he made the point that heaven was filled to capacity with young Black men and women, the aged and the young, of being slaughtered by the police. And he said, maybe that is why Jacob lived, because it is full. And I have to say that that touched me very deeply. And I'm understanding it that if heaven was full, then God is trying to send a message to the world, not just to your family, not just to the people that live in the United States, but worldwide. That this absolutely must be stopped. Sipaway, you pointed out the Constitution that gives us the authority as citizens to overturn the system as it stands. And that is where we are at. But have we sat down seriously and devised a plan? I listened to Professor O when he talked about working within the system. And that is not a new idea. It is an idea that we have always done. And it puts us in this position, a position of powerlessness, a position that one token that gives you the semblance of inclusion, but it is the art of seclusion. Yes, we will let one come in and sit at the table, but everybody is going to vote against any and every idea you bring up. They let us in at the table, one. If you look at the major corporations might have one African American. To say that we're not a racist organization, we hired one Black person.
At the college.
Professor O brought up comment about why are there not more Blacks on the police force? Because they hold the power to deny them. Not that they have not applied, not that young Black men or women have not aspired to be on these departments. It is because they hold the power and they say no. Racism is real. It is very real. And this is what we're looking at. If you don't understand what we're seeing, this is racism when one racial group unilaterally denies another racial group an opportunity to have equal rights. The way forward, we have to scrap everything we've done in the past, because we've done that for centuries in the past, and we are no further than we were when we first started this particular fight. We have to scrap everything and start something new.
So,
and start
Chief, I'm sorry, Chief. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I know you and your chain of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to respond to the conversations. And we have to be sensitive when we address. It's one thing to talk to people you don't know and say whatever comes to your mind. But when you begin to know a person, us on this panel, we're getting to know one another. We're no longer strangers. We're coming from different states, different countries, but we're getting to know one another. And I take Sipaway as my brother on the panel, my brother in the struggle. And when he hurts, I hurt. And it is unwise for me to try to hurt him when he is hurting. We have to have compassion. If we claim that we're any kind of leader, if we claim that we have any form of intelligence, if we claim that we're trying to bridge the gap between Africans and African Americans, we must extol compassion. We must set aside what we think we know and get into the emotion and the feeling of the moment. This is a tragedy. And I would say the closest tragedy to me. And I have said, I am the mother of Trayvon Martin. I am the sister of all these other ones. I am the auntie.
Yeah.
Okay? I am the auntie. They are all mine. But when it comes to Sipaway and it comes to Jacob Blake, I feel a closer affinity because I know one of his relatives. I've always had that kinship, always had that affinity, but this cuts just a little deeper.
Yeah.
Because we actually not had one relative, but two relatives to grace our presence. How many can we say that we met with Trayvon mother, or Tamir Rice's mother, or Philando Castile? How many of us have actually graced their presence? We've seen them on the television. So for me, this is up close and personal. And we have to put aside what we think we know and come into the best way to act and show love and compassion at this very moment. Yes, we argue politics. Yes, we stand on the polar opposite ends of the way we perceive things. But for us, this is a moment that we must come forward and feign unity, if not real unity.
Right.
We must stand together at this moment in this program, because this is life and this is real.
Yeah. You don't see no commercials running here.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not going to belabor the point, because I'll be going to Washington, D.C. in the morning to be part of the commitment march. And if I can, I'll broadcast live whenever I can, or I'll make video and upload later. So
I want to thank you. I feel you. I know I have felt your words. And I just want to share this. I had said earlier in the broadcast, this is just the latest attack on our family. Again, Jacob, my cousin, we're in the same age group, meaning we are both great-great-great-great-great-grandson of Rasa and Chaba. Okay? Jacob is 29. Now, when I was 29, back on August the 6th, 1999, I was sitting in my van at the same Lake Michigan, sitting in my van, when Chicago police officers rolled up to me, because it was quote unquote after the park was closed, or the beach area was closed. And it was at least 3 or 4 squad cars came, and they dragged me out of the van, and I hadn't felt that I had done anything wrong. My natural instinct was, don't nobody put their hands on me. Next thing I know, I was on the ground just like my cousin. I was put in the same position that George Floyd was put in, and held there for quite some time by white and black police officers, guns drawn. Fortunately for me, They didn't shoot, but they shot my cousin. So what I'm saying is, like literally, my family has been under attack from police. When my father was a student at Fisk University, and they did the sit-ins, and my father went to 2 of them, they threw bricks at him. So this just isn't intellectual Black history for me. Every generation of my family has suffered these, and this is true for just about every Black family out there, right? So when that emotion that Anita is feeling from me, right, is because all of that is inside of us. All of that is, this is why our communities are exploding now. We've had enough. We are tired of having to comply with people who have no natural authority over us. And the only reason why they do is because of the result of conquest, not any moral virtue or moral authority. And so I just want you to understand that, Professor O.
Yeah, so let me go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Michelle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Look, not that I do not feel your pain. I say I share your pain. The thing is that I just like the mother of the young man spoke, is that which I adhere to. We need to become calm. You see, and that is why. Look, what happened to that young man, even already has created fear in the few Blacks we have here in Argentina before the police. Because the police, they always like to copy the evil part of another part. So that is why, not that I do not have compassion, I feel the pain. I may not express it publicly. I feel the pain because I know that a lot of things will happen. But what I'm saying is that the way to confront it differ from the way you see it.
That's your opinion. No, you say it.
My way, the ideas on how to confront it differ. Well, we agree to disagree, but there's not lack of compassion from my part because I feel the pain. The images, when I see it, it hits me in the heart. It's just that by distance, I'm far away. I do not know. Here too, we have our problem. The few Black people here, we have our problem. Even though the country as a whole is not racist, but there are some racist elements that make life impossible for you. That we also have it. Because Argentina copied from the United States of America. Even the Constitution was originally copied from the US. They copy everything that goes on in the US. That's why I'm able to feel what is going on.
So I'm going to say it straight. I'm going to say it simple and straight. The message right now is, from now on, if you shoot one of us, we're going to shoot one of yours.
I'm going ahead.
I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it for everybody that is afraid to say it.
Yeah,
I am not against it because we shall have to name the few Black people that will suicide themselves and revenge. Maybe that's one good way. If you want to vote, we shoot you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's really important to clarify this. I don't want it to be misinterpreted. We're not talking about an emotional response that could be characterized as revenge. We're talking about scientific, strategic war strategy. If the United States can have a military and have a war strategy college and talk about war strategies, so can we. And it's disingenuous to say that if we start talking about if you shoot one of us, we're going to shoot back, that somehow we're being emotional and it's revenge and it's not scientific strategy.
I'm going to go ahead and step in real quick. Like I said, majority of the time, I just was sitting back, listening, and giving them my piece and all that stuff. I think enough is enough. I think that's the point that's been at home, sleep, probably, you know, in a deep sleep right now. But it's to the point to where what do we have to do? What do we have to do to have people listen to us? And they actually showed the video of one of the burning buildings with a message. Now, I'm paraphrasing, I could get it wrong. It says, "Are you listening now?" And I believe that sums it up, because you're saying, you know, peaceful protest, you say do it peacefully, you still criticize us about it. And now we try to do everything the right way, try to go through, the judicial system. We try to go through it the right way, but now you're sitting there saying, well, it could be justified. We don't have all the evidence. We don't have to do this. We have to do that. And we're just sitting back and we're like, damn, we try to go through it the right way and we still get dinged. We keep getting demonized and all that stuff. So, C-Boy, I have always thought like that. I'm like, you know what? Let's go back into history. That's why the Black Wall Street all day this morning it just made me just think. You get comfortable. You get comfortable because you're flourishing. You got money on the table. You can provide food for your family. You got that stability. But then outside those walls, you got an entity, angry white folks, that is just waiting for the right time to strike. Is that me sounding prejudiced? No, it's just a straight up truth. They waited for the right time to strike because they knew we was getting comfortable. They knew we was getting lax. And now let's fast forward to today. We barely even got in control of our own community. Gentrification is happening everywhere, including back home in Virginia. It's going on up in Washington. Notorious up there in Washington. And it hits me when I hear, oh, stop destroying your communities. Like I just posted up a message from Gloria. She said they looting and rioting in Minnesota right now. But I say this again. I said this on the previous show when we was covering this, and I think it was just me and Teach at the time. What have they contributed to the community? What has they done to the community to stop things like this? I don't see Target going to the police station and sitting there saying, look, majority of our customers they look exactly like George Floyd, that look like Jacob, that look like Tamir Rice. You don't see Lowe's, you don't see Coca-Cola Powerade, you don't see Ford, you don't see General Motors, because majority of Black people, even though I'm a Ford fanatic, majority of Black people get Chevrolets. I gotta keep it real. Get Cadillac, gotta keep it real. But you don't see nobody from those corporations going down to see how Seepway's cousin is doing. This is the reality that we're in. And this is what goes back to what everybody was saying. And I'm here just trying to put it all together. It's being on code. I know Tariq Nasheed, I know a lot of y'all watch Tariq Nasheed, and I do too. But one thing he's right about, we need to be on code, regardless of what side of the aisle that we support or our views. When one of us, it's like what Cheech said, when Seepway's hurt, I'm hurt. When Mr. O's hurt, we all hurt. No matter our differences. And so we need to get back down to that factor. And then on the militant side, I always, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of seeing my people getting killed. It's time for everybody to get a gun. Licensed gun. Get with these black gun black gun groups. Like there's one called, if I say it right, NEGA is NEEGA. That's a black gun group. Join them. Their numbers have went up since the pandemic. It has went up. I think they started off at 25,000. They went up to 50,000. I will say it again. It's called NEGA, NEEGA. Look them up because I'm thinking about joining them. This is where we at, ladies and gentlemen.
Morris, we put out an instruction months ago where we said in the 100 cities with the largest concentration of black people, we put out a call for every person with police training, military, every member of the black community with police training, military training, security training, right? Who already have the training and are licensed gun owners to form these community protection units. Can you imagine if in 100 cities right now, you could call, and this is known publicly, this is all above board because like Professor O says, it's all legal. If we establish that network and say, okay, if there's a problem, instead of dialing 911, dial 77777, that is the community protection unit number. And if you call that number, there's a unit in your city that will show up, at least 20 people armed where there's an incident. Can you imagine if that started happening regularly starting this weekend for the next 6 months? You said something key, which is, are they listening yet? We don't need them to listen. They've been listening. We have to be tight on our code, like you said. What we have to be saying is, we don't need you to listen. What we need you to do is to transfer resources and control. They've been listening. They just haven't been responding the way we need them to.
Right.
We need them to transfer resources, that's reparations, and control. We need to negotiate, right, how they will relinquish control in our community.
Right. Which I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time tuning into the show, we have reached overtime, but this is a much needed overtime because Beast Johnson, he's in the house now. Beast Johnson, you've been commenting in the chat room.
Yeah.
You got a lot to say, sir, so the floor is yours.
I got here late and I wasn't going to hop in. I was going to watch, but I need Mr. O and individuals like Mr. O to understand this. You can only talk to an aggressive person to a certain point. Once you know that this individual is of a emotional, aggressive, territorial mentality, words do not work. If I want to fight Mr. O and Mr. O can look in my eyes and everyone knows it is exuding out of my pores that I want to fight this man, there's nothing that he can say. There's nothing Donnell can say. There's nothing Teach can say that will assuage my rage. If I'm angry and you're my target, the only way that you cannot be my target is to A, run and hide, or stand up and defend yourself and show that you are not a target, but a well-seasoned adversary that should be respected. And that's what we do. I agree with, we get comfortable and they wait till we're comfortable and they jump on us. We need to stop being comfortable. I said in the statements, it is time for the army of Gideon to rise up. This is not the Jesus moment. This is not the New Testament that we are living in. No, we are Old Testament, baby. It's time for God's wrath. It's time for us to march together 3,000 strong and take out the 300,000. It is time for us to sing and praise around their structures until they crumble down like the walls of Jericho. This is the time for us to rise up. It is not the time for us to ask for peace. It is the time for us to demand it.
Yeah, I think we are.
And
that.
As long as you are willing to fight me, I just had a conversation with my neighbor. I was informing them of the recent tragedy that happened yesterday. He was unaware of that. And to see that picture of that ignorant little shit, I won't call him a boy, I won't call him a man, I won't acknowledge him as a human. That ignorant, methodical little shit knew what the fuck it was doing and did it and got away with it.
Yeah, walked by the cops. I forgot to bring that up during the show. I forgot.
So from henceforth, like Brother Balake say, if you harm me, I'm going to hurt you. If you hit me, I'm going to break you. If you try to kill me, I'm going to kill you and someone you love. We must not match their level. We must exceed it to show them that we are not only equal to you, but we will surpass you if necessary. Now, my grandfather always told me as a young man before he died, the easiest way to get people to leave you alone is to just show out one good time.
Yep.
Get in one fight. But when you get in that fight, beat his head in with a brick, kick him in the face, spit on him, piss on him, do whatever you got to do. Be as evil, as violent, and as disrespectful as you need to. Because when it's all said and done, nobody will mess with you. Nobody will even entertain the thought of wanting to engage you in that level. Because either they witnessed it firsthand or they were told the story. And they don't even want to know if the story's true or not. Like, I don't like this dude over here, man. You might not want to mess with him, man, because he don't fight fair. He'll stab you in the eye. You know, like last dude he fought, he bit his nose off. He what? Yeah, he bit that nigga nose off.
And you don't even have to win that
Are you
fight.
gonna fight it? Exactly. Yeah. Are you gonna fight a person that bites people's noses off? Yep. You ain't even gonna take the risk. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be cool with you, pimping. So black people, you hear this intensity is coming out my voice. You feel the rage that's going on. This is what you need to exude, because this is what I do every day. And yes, I've had many occasions with cops. I'm blessed to say I've only had one actual cop pull a gun on me with the intent to kill me. I'm blessed enough to say that, and that's still not much of a blessing, but I'm blessed to say be living to say it. But I carry myself with the energy and the aura that if you come at me in a negative manner, you better prepare yourself for a holy war.
Yeah.
Because I look like I would fuck you up. And if you're willing to take that chance, engage me in that manner. I'm here to tell you that yes, your perceptive image of me is correct, but it's also wrong, because I'm twice as worse as what you think I am if you put me in that mentality. And we need to start showing this. And the more we show this, the less we have to talk, the less we have to feel threatened and feared, because those individuals will start to distance themselves. They will not put themselves in areas where individuals like myself would be. They're not going to say things around people because they don't want to take the risk of finding out that an individual like myself is somebody that they know.
I think it goes back to what she always told me when I was in her class: won't start nothing, won't be nothing. And that's what that comes down to.
Yes.
So we reached the end of the show. Seepway, it was a pleasure having one of your family members on the show. Hopefully, Justin can come on the show and keep updating us, because we know we're not going to get it from CNN. We're not going to get it from Fox News. We're not going to get it from none of the mainstream. No. Can we have him come on this show and give the update, not the fabricated one?
Yeah, I talk to Justin every day. I'll let him know. Today's Wednesday, right? So next one Friday. So I'll ask him to come on again Friday just to give an update.
Yeah, because you just extended out to the rest of your to the family members. I would love to have your mom on. I know Mr. O probably got a lot of questions for her. Also,
Question now is prayers. I would like to
Yeah.
greet her. She's magnanimous. In all this group together, she's the greatest of all.
yeah,
I would like to let her know that.
yeah,
She's the
and
greatest of all.
yeah, and then also the father to come on the show as well. And I know I'm probably gonna be stepping my bells when I ask this too. We would love, not me, we would love to have Jacob on the show because we know he's gonna make a full recovery to come on this show and to join us.
Well,
I agree.
I'm glad we got that Walk Jacob Walk hashtag out there because we put that out into the world and people are vibing on that like our family is. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things and thoughts are energies. So when people are thinking about my cousin Jacob, on behalf of my family, this is the only time I'm going to speak for my family. Everything I said before is in my opinion. But right now, on behalf of my family, if you want to do something for our family and you want to help Jacob, we need you to be thinking, walk, Jacob, walk.
Yes.
That energy, if you can sustain that in your heart and mind, right, justice is going to come from powers bigger than us. Right. But if we can get, people to focus on the miracle of him walking, that will be the most powerful statement we can make on this situation.
Yes. And to let you know, Sipwe, we're going to continue to talk about the story. This is not just going to be a one-hitter quitter. We're going to continue talking about this, and this is going to continue on to Friday. And hopefully Justin can come back on the show, or we can get your the mother and mainly the father. I believe the father during that press conference, I don't even think he even had enough to say about anything because he was so hurt.
Yes.
About what happened to his son. And we would love for him to come on if he can on Friday, so he can speak his piece.
Well, I will extend it to him. I'm not in, they're sitting down, they have lawyers around them, they have all kinds of stuff. So I don't even know if the legal team is allowing them to, you see Mom is only on CNN under the wing of attorneys.
Yeah. Hey, but like I said, having Justin and then also the other family member that gave a powerful speech when she said, let it marinate.
Yes.
In your mind. We'd love to have her. Yes. We would definitely love to have her and have a conversation with her on this show.
But
all right.
Listen, that's the family now, so I gotta go handle this.
I got you.
Right now.
So tonight we're not gonna do a final thought. I'm gonna go ahead and mute your mic. I'm
gonna go. So I want to just thank everyone.
Sipwe, from behalf of everybody here, our thoughts and hearts goes out to your family and for Jacob.
Stay strong, brother.
You're here.
We're here with you.
And we will see you on Friday.
Yes. Jacob will walk again very soon. Very soon. There will be healing.
Thank you, Professor.
He will walk.
Strength and guidance from the ancestors.
He will walk.
So that will do it for our show. First of all, I appreciate each and every one. Yeah, I appreciate you, Teach, for coming in, and Beast Johnson for you to come in late as you did, and then Mr. O holding it down with me here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, these are conversations that we need to have. These are stories that not only that we cover, but we can relate to as well, because this is happening every day. And we need to come together and work on the solutions. Like I said, this is the main reason why I created this show, is that we get the solution. We don't beg for it, we get. So we got to keep this going. We want to keep reaching out to Blake's family and keep getting updates on Jacob's condition. It's great that we were the first ones to get the updated conditions of him making a recovery. So fingers crossed, I'm not even saying fingers crossed, that the next update we get is that he makes a full recovery. And that's my take. So anybody else, the floor is open before we head on out.
I agree with everything you said. The God I serve and the God I know will make this situation turn for the better.
Yes.
All prayers for him. The man is going to make a recovery. He's going to be better on some $6 million man tip. What they thought, what the devil thought he had, God will show who truly owns it. And that's the life of Mr. Jacob Blake.
Right. Teach, you got anything?
Yes, I would just like to say that in order for us to have a future, we have to make a change today. Because what we do today determines tomorrow. We have to rethink
That's true.
and find the strategy to take us forward. And this is going to be the challenge for us because we have so many diverse views. Life is not the same. It cannot be the same. We cannot continue to accept this. The reason why the police brutalize us is because the police are bullies. And bullies will continue to bully you until you stand up. As long as we forgive and turn the other cheek, that's exactly what's going to keep happening. Every time we turn the other cheek, another one comes along. But if we grab that arm when it goes to strike us, and we turn that arm down, say no more, they will rethink. And as Beast Johnson said, you have to make them respect us. And you asked about, can you hear us now? We've been talking, they've been hearing, but have we said anything worth listening to? Understand what I'm saying? Have we said anything worth listening to? Words are cheap. And that's how they hear us, as cheap words. We have to have action to show beyond a shadow of a doubt that these types of situations cannot continue. We have to stop it. We can't ask them to stop. We can't beg for them to stop. We have to stand up, rise up in the power of who we are and make it stop. That's the only way it's going to stop. When we recognize that we are at war and we devise our plan and execute, that's how we say no. That's how they listen. That's how they learn.
Roger that, Teach. Mr. O, anything else you want to add?
Yes. In solidarity with the family of Blake, I will not say many things. The only thing I want to say is I pray for them. I pray for you, Jacob, and I decree, walk, Jacob, walk. That's all.
Once again, like to thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in, as well as my panel. Mr. O, Anita Joe, aka Teach, and Beast Johnson, as well as C-Boy. This is why, once again, we got shows like this. Yeah, it's great that you watch the other ones, but you need to come here and get it real, get it raw, and not to mention, we get the solutions. This is just not us saying, oh, another black man or black woman or somebody getting shot. No. We go deeper than that. So let your friends know, your mom, your sister, your brother, co-workers, let them know about this show. Tune in, because you're going to get the real here, no matter what. And my words, Beast Johnson, we keep it a buck. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's for myself, your host, Donella Monte Morris, Beast Johnson, Anita Job, aka Teach, and Mr. O, as well as Seepway. Tune in. And we're going to continue to keep covering this story on Friday. May y'all all please stay safe. There's still a disease out there. Please wear a mask. Please continue your social distancing, as well as also for us black men and women, be careful out there. Be careful. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great night. And once again, our thoughts, our condolences, and we give all the love of the power of the ancestors to the Blake family, as well as Jacob Blake. Hashtag walk Jacob walk. Make sure that trends on your social media. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Friday.